All right, so welcome to the January meeting of MNRCC. Laura and I are here, and we have Francina and Rich on the phone. So can I get approval of the agenda for today?
I'll vote to approve.
Second? Rich? Francina?
Second, Rich.
All right, thanks. Approval of the minutes that was sent out?
They were sent out, correct?
Yeah, and it was included in the mailing. A motion to accept, please?
Yeah, but there was, I have a question.
Okay.
It says, on the fourth page, Orange gets Pasco Valley Line Express and Secaucus, to say maybe the solution is to have some trains bypass the station. That's not what I said. We have to have more trains stop at the station.
Okay. Okay.
And I would vote to approve it.
Okay, well, with that,
All right, get a second?
Second, Rich.
All right, thank you. A motion to approve with the amendment? Hello? Please.
I vote.
Second? On the phone, you guys need to participate.
Francina.
Thank you. All right. Chair's report was distributed. When I read this yesterday, I was shocked to hear about CDOT looking to raise fares. And I said, well, how did I miss that? And then I saw it was in the clippings for yesterday. It was just now. So we're really current here on this thing, and it was heard on the news several times today. I just hope that the service cuts don't happen, because if you have record ridership, how are you going to cut service when you have record ridership?
you know, all your, I mean, they'd be spending all their weekend. And sure, I didn't put it in there, but Shoreline East as well.
Yeah.
They're talking about the same kind of cuts for Shoreline East.
How do their rates compare to the MTA and New Jersey Transit?
I think they're a little higher now per mile because of they've been doing 1% increases every year.
And it's been
Well,
several
but they
years.
did, but no,
of
I don't think that their fares went up on January 1st, because they don't use DMAs there yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean
Oh,
Shoreline?
Shoreline.
Shoreline. Oh, okay.
I'm just thinking for the Connecticut stuff, because now it's been several years of the
Yeah.
dollar add-on, wondering.
No, I don't.
1% yet on.
I'm not sure whether
Oh,
yeah, I'm not sure whether Shoreline did go up.
It didn't. And I looked online, I saw that there was the
but
same
the rest of
timetable.
Connecticut?
Well, but the rest of Connecticut is the 3 branches and the main line.
Right, so on the main line.
Yeah, well, everything in Connecticut from east of Greenwich went up.
Yeah. So that's how I went there.
Okay. Are there any questions on what's in the report?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're done with that. Board report. Okay, let's speak.
Yeah, I do actually. There's some stuff in it, so just ignore that. I'm going to Long Island later today, and
Really, the highlight, I guess, of the doesn't affect Metro North directly. Excuse me, is that the board voted to approve $2.6 billion project to put a 3rd track on the Long Island Railroad between Floral Park and Hicksville. And budget was approved for next year.
yeah, one of the things that it does do is it may help out on Long Island operations and maybe improve operations in Penn Station a little bit if they can have a robust reverse commute service rather than trying to move their stuff into storage once it gets into Penn Station, which could potentially open some space for Penn Station access for Metro North. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen until East Side access is done.
I think something of concern, which is not at the board level, is they put out a hiring freeze
Oh.
and thinking, how will the hiring freeze get implemented? And the statement was, well, people that are critical, you know, descriptive words, critical to the operation, and that gives you a lot of leeway of what is going to be considered critical. And then it seems you have to fight for what's critical, and it goes up a chain to Bob, Fran, and Anita as decision makers, but that's happening from all of the agencies, all going into, and Maggie, I think, are the three that have been identified.
Yeah, they're the committee.
And for, you know, an organization that's 64, whatever, thousand people. So,
Yeah,
for how it's gonna affect Metro North and, you know, will elevators, escalators be considered critical? And it might be an area for the council to be inquiring about on which departments, and which departments are already short, so that by not hiring people, they're under tremendous stress, and they need to get these people on board. And we know how long it takes to hire people under this umbrella, and how much longer will that now take because of this process. So I think that there are some.
There was I can't remember if it was you who talked to somebody and that said the complexity of having a hiring freeze in one agency is so great.
Yeah.
They can't imagine having it across the board.
All leading into headquarters.
All leading into having to get
It's a
headquarters approval
tremendous-
for every hire, basically.
From where we sit right now, it's a tremendous
It's yeah.
task, and getting clarity on how that task will work to make sure safety, security, efficiency is all really addressed. It's supposed, the hiring freeze is supposed to go, I think, through June right now.
Yeah, it's a 6-month. I mean, it started, I think, the 28th of December, I think, is the thing in my mind, so it goes till 28th of June.
So one of the things that I was looking at was for elevators and escalators, the head count for transit, they can't keep the head count by any stretch. They're so, I think it's like between 15 and 25% of how many they should have versus vacancies, you know, and wondering,
Are they
does
gonna
that-
be able to keep up hiring operating employees?
that's what we don't know who exactly falls in that category of, yes, you can keep hiring.
But they're not looking to reduce the staff, they just wanna keep the staff at the same level.
You can't hire for vacancies. No, you can't hire
Yeah,
for
even
vacancies.
vacancies.
That doesn't make sense if you
No.
need for operating people.
And wondering if Metro North has the same difficulty transit has with keeping
Yeah.
the head count for elevators and escalator repair. And will that be included in who they are allowed to keep hiring for? Because that's not an easy
So who can we
fill.
who can we get these answers from? Who should we be asking?
We asked
Probably
Bob.
Kathy.
Or yeah, Kathy.
I think
I mean,
Kathy.
yeah.
Start.
Like down the hall.
I think start
No,
to
I mean,
understand how they're approaching the task.
Okay.
And
whether there are some blanket categories that they know they're gonna get approval and it's sort of pro forma thing, or if they're gonna have to fight every vacancy through the committee process. And
Well, that kind of just doesn't make sense. If you have operating people retiring,
Right.
you got to
Yeah, at this
be
point
able
in
to
time,
hire.
a
Maybe
hiring
not hire
freeze is
over and
really
above,
a
but
A
hardship.
reduction in staff.
right, and there certainly are.
And it's just, have other staff take on those responsibilities
They can.
until they lift it. And
It's
if
not
they're
like in
already
office.
burdened by doing the job of 3 people, that's,
yeah, it's not like, all right, so you'll do his job.
right.
Right.
One,
Yeah.
conductor's still on a train, the conductor's still on a train.
No, but that may
You don't want-
clearly come under operations and safety. I think there are these other more vague categories, or people could think they're vague, but they're not, that we
Right, I
have
mean,
to
you know, some of
keep an
the
eye on.
operations planning people who are, you know,
Yeah.
who are, you know,
critical to a
critical
smooth
to
running.
getting the capital work done. I mean, that could be an issue. And my main concern is not that not the people that are truly essential will get approved eventually, but like an elevator and escalator repair, it's hard enough to keep people on board and to recruit new ones without adding another layer to it and having people just say, oh, you know, I'm going to take that job at Coney or Otis or wherever, you know, Schindler or whoever offers me a job, which pays more probably.
Do you have some other place to go? If we expedited, you were able to answer the questions
You need
now?
to be somewhere else.
You're welcome to stay
Say,
with me.
I just don't want, I mean, what
Holding
we're
up on your
talking
issue.
about, it's not critical stuff, but if you have some other things you need to do and you just want to speak to us and leave,
Or you're welcome to stay for the whole
Your
thing, but
choice.
it's.
No,
Yeah.
especially if you're talking about elevators.
Okay, that's,
Yeah, we've, yeah, there've been, you know, and obviously you probably read the news in one of the areas that has been a big source of controversy has been the elevators, particularly transit.
Yeah, though I have to say that Metro North seems much better than New York City Transit when it comes to that. So I'm not sure why, but maybe it's because they have enough people working.
Yeah, and they tend to use more of a contractor labor force too on theirs. Transit is an in-house, but one of the issues, because they're within the salary structure of transit, people make less working for transit than they make working for private, which you basically can make six figures pretty easily as an elevator mechanic.
But in terms of hiring freezes, I mean, you're saying it's not Metro North exactly you're talking about, but the issue with, I feel like maybe this is just how I feel, but it seems like there's less conductors on the rush hour trains, which is making it harder for them to actually accommodate me, because there have been plenty of times where they've forgotten to take the bridge plate out. As the problem I had yesterday was that they didn't even see me, they didn't get out to put
you
out.
have maybe like a flashlight or something that you could,
I could, but that's not really my,
Right.
I mean, they're supposed to do that. And
no, but to call their attention, in case they're not looking in your direction, or they just like quickly turn around.
oh, you see the doors closed,
Yeah, like
there's a way
like if
to
you have a
flash
phone,
them.
you
Yeah,
can just put
I don't know.
With the inconvenience
You don't
of-
have a phone like this that you could just?
Yeah, I could, but I mean,
In the interim of fixing it more permanently, because the
Yeah.
frustration of missing a train is
Yes.
pretty bad, so thinking as a backup plan.
Yeah.
But have you noticed, so this is on the New Haven line, you
yes.
are consistently on the New Haven line?
Well, I moved
Do
to
hard.
Yonkers a short while ago, so I was dealing with the Hudson line for a while.
Oh, and you found the problem, you would be left on the platform there also
It's-
occasionally, or?
I think it's happened there before. I mean, where this happened was 125th Street. It was an incredibly crowded train, so.
And
that might have
crowded
been-
platform?
Yeah.
Just thinking, if it's a
yeah.
crowded platform, then it is much harder to see, everything that's
It
going on.
was mostly crowded on the train. It wasn't.
It wasn't
It
crowded.
wasn't that crowded on the platform. So.
And
But
thinking, do you travel?
there have been
just
other
one
times
way?
when they come to, they come to me, they pick up my ticket and everything, I'm like, I need the ramp at Mount Vernon, and then they don't
Right.
come out, and I have to stand in like the way of the door, other people
Yeah.
have to like get the conductor's attention, and it's,
Yeah, you definitely don't want to ride past your station, because it's a big
Yeah.
deal to try to get.
but I'm just concerned with, when you're talking about hiring freezes, that it just doesn't seem like
Yeah.
there's enough conductors, and they can't.
How long have you been noticing this? Well,
I would say it's gotten worse recently. I mean, I've been commuting for like 10 years at least, and probably the last couple of years, I think it's gotten worse.
And now it's,
Bradley, is he on the camera?
well, and you moved from the Yonkers.
Yeah.
Is it possible it's also, it's worse on the New Haven line than it was on the?
I would
Did you see it?
It's worse when, it's one of the, it seems to be worse when it's one of the trains that stops at Fordham. Because those trains at peak hour tend to be incredibly crowded.
So that's inbound or outbound? Into the city or? I mean, into the city,
I guess
trains
it's-
don't stop
I guess
at
it's,
Fordham, so it's going out of,
yeah, it's going outbound.
but they're, you've been missing
They-
120.
they stop, they stop, they just
They
don't
don't, but
pick
they
up.
don't pick
Yeah.
up.
They just don't
Right,
pick
but they
up.
don't pick up.
It's not supposed to.
I haven't had one they pick up that, but you're saying outbound because you're getting stuck at 125th Street.
It's almost, yeah, it's mostly in the evening. No, I usually don't go from 125th, I usually go for Grand Central, but it just happened to be
The most
that I was
recent
going to,
happened.
yeah.
Have you been, has it happened on any other New Haven line platforms?
Does it happen on any New Haven line platform? I don't think they've totally, well, it's happened that they haven't put the ramp out when I'm already on the train when I get to Mount Vernon. That's
The
been
ramp
happened a
out
few times.
happens more frequently, the not putting the ramp out.
Yes, and it's something where I tell them and they're like, yes, I remember, I'll do it, and then they just
Yeah, like
forget
they need
to
a
do it.
more permanent way to remember to do it.
Yes,
But
I don't know what the
it-
answer is, but yes, they definitely.
But I mean, that's part of the job.
Yeah, that's supposed to be part of the job, is remembering people who have particular needs and
But,
attending.
and I mean, sometimes I stand in the way of the door,
Yeah.
but that's, I don't feel safe doing that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to miss my stop either.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not.
What
a
I think here though is, if you could get the trains, that would be a good thing, and maybe get it to
Which
Bill.
train? Because it's a particular, it might
Yeah,
be a
in
particular.
other which trains they were, what they
And
had.
car number.
And if we can go back to Metro North,
Well, it was, I can tell you, it was the,
Yeah.
it was the 6:30 from Harlem to Harrison.
yeah. You see, yeah, if
Do you know what day?
It was Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why I came, I looked up the commuter thing, I realized you guys were having a meeting today, so I was like.
Yeah, I'll give you, if you'd like, I'll give you a business card
Thank
you
you.
can hold on to, and you can, if you want to email, if you have incidents that you want to, you know,
Okay.
make sure somebody hears about,
Get it to Bill.
I'd be happy to put them through the, you know, to the appropriate person.
Right. And you know that on the schedule, on the top of the schedule, there's a train number.
Yeah.
That makes it a lot easier for him to
Yeah,
identify the
you're right.
train.
Okay.
But, yeah, that, you know, the departure time from, you know, terminal or from 125th to 2.
But yeah, I
can
wasn't,
figure that out.
I mean, I was annoyed whenever this happened, but you're right, I never actually, until the other day, I did put in a report, I sent there, but I haven't done that in the past.
So this is 6:30 train that goes to,
It's Harrison, it goes from.
yeah, it's a
Harlem
short
to
train, yeah,
Harrison.
6:30,
Yeah.
that's train 1270.
But so that time they missed you on the platform.
Yeah,
And then when you got on the train, did they also, when you finally got on another train, did they not put the plate out? Was there a problem? with-
no, they did
That
everything,
time?
that time was fine,
Okay,
but it was a less crowded train.
yeah, yeah.
Oh.
So it does, and that's helpful to know, when it's crowded is when the problems arise more often.
Yeah,
Which means to the crew, somebody from the crew has to remember
Yeah.
and be there when the train arrives,
Right.
to give you the assistance.
Exactly.
But as
Maybe you
Mr.
need to
Warrior
figure out
said,
some kind
that's
of trigger
their
that-
job.
When
Yeah.
there's so much going on,
yeah.
a way to make sure that,
But I just don't know, is it because they're not pay attention, or is there just too much going on?
Chances are there's a lot
Yeah,
going on.
I think there probably is. You know, it's hard to break down.
It is
How many conductors are
It
are
varies,
required?
it varies to whatever train, it varies on the time of the day,
Oh,
it
yeah.
varies on how, you know, how many cars there are on the train.
So for a typical rush hour, especially New Haven line train,
There are a lot.
during rush hour,
There are a lot.
what's the maximum number of conductors you have on a train? Isn't there a maximum
Well, one
number?
is the conductor, the other is the train,
Yeah,
assistant
they're-
collectors or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
they're
that's
one
right.
conductor.
Well, you know what I mean. is,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
People
Yeah.
collect
Yeah,
tickets.
no, I mean,
Whatever
well,
type
I'm
it is.
looking at head count, and it's not, they're not far off what their
They should
authorized
have.
level for the whole, sort of the whole operations area. Now that, you know, that depends, you know, that doesn't
Across.
mean that there's not a shortage of conductors, but it doesn't, there's no red flag there at least, you know, and as of last fall. And we could go further and ask whether, and some of those people could, there could be turnover, and some of the people who are in there could be in training programs, but sometimes, you know, they may not be available for,
Yeah, I understand.
you know.
So I guess the question is, what should I do in the future besides just writing down whatever it happens and putting in, I guess.
I think letting us know.
Well, I think maybe documenting it, we'd like to know, but also,
Still
you know,
no train service to New York.
Really?
I'm sorry?
Still no, the portal bridge between Secaucus and Newark is up. And they couldn't close it,
Stuck
so
up.
close.
there's no service between Newark and New York.
I didn't-
yeah.
Bridge is 108 years.
But I,
Metro
yeah,
North is pretty responsive.
yeah, I
It finds
encourage
out-
you to go ahead
Yeah.
and, you know, report things, I mean, because, you know, they need to know, their management needs to know.
Okay.
It's just,
Are you putting it in through the website?
Yes. I
Yeah,
did.
yeah, that's a good.
that's really, that's really a very good way
Yeah,
of
that's-
doing it, because
Okay.
things are logged through the website, and
Okay.
so there, you know, there's a sort of there's a incentive to respond, basically. I mean, not that they don't,
And our process is a little bit, it's helpful for us to know, because we like to see trends, and then, you know, if we're seeing an ongoing trend, is, oh, do we need to look at this at a deeper level? We've reported it, you know, that sort of thing, we just, in all our councils, that's
Okay.
provides, it's useful, let us know.
Certainly, it's, you know, that's something we, you know, not in this particular council, because we haven't had the issue, but we certainly are open to talking with the labor organizations, with the conductors the union for the trainmen, and finding out what their perspective is, and, you know, trying to get a full story of what's going on.
Okay,
But, yeah,
okay.
I'm sorry it happened.
Yeah.
So should I
It's happening.
email you?
Yeah, you can just email me. That's probably the easiest way to get in touch with me, is just email me, and I'll be glad to, you know, let me know whether you've sent it through, and because I may raise it, but I'll say, oh, and this has already been sent through the system, through the email system. So, you know, if you would just let me know if you've sent anything through the email system, or if this is just something you're just sending to me.
Sure.
I think it would be provocative if you would, if the answer was, when he gets on the train, said, I'm getting off at such and such stuff. What train number is this? And you write it down, then he'll remember, or she'll remember, why did they ask me for the train number? Or what do you need that for? Well, just in case you forget to let me know the train has happened before.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Like, you do stay in their head
a
then.
reminder, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's not a bad idea. It's better to be safe, you know, belt and suspenders.
Yeah.
They shouldn't,
Okay.
So all of the cars, do you know the difference between the cars? What the class of cars are, or you just get on the train and you just get in?
Well, it's mostly M8s.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty much.
Most, usually
I don't think
the
there's
newer
anything
The
ones.
red one, yeah.
Yeah, it's all M8s
Yeah,
on
okay.
the New Haven. That's
Yeah, I mean, there's a few.
Or then they have the older cars that are pulled by the dual.
Yeah, that's
engines.
once in a while, not usually.
Yeah.
Is it in snow?
All right, so.
Okay.
We've answered all
You're
the
welcome.
concerns for now.
Yeah, and, well, you know, keep in touch if there are further issues.
Okay.
Glad
All right, so I guess we could move on to old business funding, MTA funding issues.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
You want to listen?
we were hoping we'd get a little bit more clarity out of the governor's state of the state address. Although, you know, there was not as much material there as we had hoped. Here we are. That's why I can't find it. It was here. But basically, I think you guys know, and I hope folks on the phone know that a lot of the MTA funding.
We have a connection here.
A lot of the MTA funding, the hopes for new funding are being hung on the idea of congestion pricing, which, you know, which we've been through at least two iterations of proposals. There was a proposal back in the Bloomberg years in 2007. And then there's been, most recently, there's been a proposal called Move New York that's been out for the last, seems like about 4 years, that is basically originally advanced by Sam Schwartz, and then has taken on a little bit more of a, you know, a movement, the character of a movement rather than just Sam's plan. Now, there's currently a commission called the Fix NYC committee or commission that has been appointed by the governor, and they're scheduled, I think it's next Tuesday, to release their recommendations. Now, what the governor said in his State of the State was that the Fix New York panel will shortly present a report, we now know it's next Tuesday, that will have several options for the legislature to consider. It's, from what I've heard, they're looking at first when I saw this and heard this, I was afraid that there would be several different plans, distinct congestion pricing plan, and I was a little concerned about that because if you have 3 plans, you really don't have a plan. It seems that there's going to be more of coalescing toward one option, and maybe some other sort of associated money raising potential sources of funding. Of course, this is in competition with the New York City mayor's, Mr. de Blasio's preference for a tax on high-income earners, which does not seem to have much of a chance of going anywhere in the state legislature, and would have to be approved by the state legislature. I guess what we might want, I sort of want to get some. I would like to get some direction from folks. What, you know, how whether they feel that we are in favor of a congestion pricing scheme, and I know you haven't seen all the details.
Concept of it, though.
But the concept of it, we have been in the past. We've been in favor of both the Bloomberg proposal and the Move New York proposal as a larger body, as PCAC.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to get some. I'm trying in the meetings in the coming weeks. I'm trying to get from each of the councils how they feel about it, and whether there are any particular concerns that they want to express and want to be put in the mix when we do comment on it.
So Francina, what are your ideas about this? Are you for it? Francina?
Honestly, I'm still not I'm undecided, to be honest.
Okay.
I understand why it's been proposed over the years and why the government wants to do it. I get the concept. I'm just not sure how I quite feel about it on the other side.
Okay, thank you. Rich? You have an opinion?
Is he with us?
I'm still undecided as well. I'm still thinking about it.
Okay, all right.
I'll figure it out. Is there anything that,
Yeah.
is there anything that would be helpful, information that you'd like to have that could help make it clearer, or things about a plan that you'd like to see incorporated into it, or anything like that?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Say that again.
Is there anything that would help get better understanding, information that you'd like to know that we could get for you, or something that you, is causing a hesitancy that, oh, maybe could be resolved if you felt like this was included in, you know, the project, because it's in the planning stages. So thinking what would be helpful to you to help, to figure it out, and then what would, you know, any recommendations you had that would make you feel more comfortable with it.
Or, you know, and if we knew what some of the issues were, I mean, there probably are going to be some folks that have issues, although we've got, conceptually, people sort of been going along with it. I think a lot of that has to do with the governor being essentially for it, and they don't want to get on the wrong side of the governor, but you know, if we knew a specific issue, and say trucking and trade association or the AAA New York was also in that, we might be able to get some more information about the issue that you're concerned about by working with them and try to get the benefit of their experience and their thinking on it to maybe talk about some options that might lessen the importance of the issue that you've raised, or make it a little bit better for folks that are driving into the city.
So maybe.
Anything I'll let you know. I'll do some research on my end. Do you know AAA's position on it?
I think they have generally been supportive of the concept, but I think it's one of these that they want to see they obviously want to see the proposal before they make a commitment. But I know that was a piece that was to some people's mind something that was surprising, that AAA was not sort of opposed to it in a knee-jerk fashion.
So is there something in particular the county executives are looking to see in the proposal? If it's there or not, is that far along?
Well, one of them, at least there are several county executives that are actually on Move New York. So that's
right, but because it's moving from.
Yeah, so they're not on Move New York, but Fix New York.
Oh,
Fix NYC, excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, let's see.